Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 250th episode of the Capes and Lunatics podcast. I am Phil. You know Lilith. You know Charlie. But as promised, we have a big name tonight. We've been hunting him down for a while. He finally gave in. If you read Marvel comics right now, you know this man, Mr. Jed Mackay. Hello, sir.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Thank you for joining us.
Our very special guest star.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on.
All right, my first question. You seem very knowledgeable in Marvel lore. So, were you a comics fan before you started working at Marvel?
No, I'd never heard of them before. No, I came up reading comics. That's how I learned how to read. My dad was a comics guy through the 70s and through the 90s when I was a youth. I was always rereading his old comics. So yeah, my comics pedigree goes pretty far back as it is.
Oh, nice.
So was your dad a Marvel or a DC guy? Or was he eclectic?
Well, he was eclectic. He was one of the sort of the earlier guys who were on the follow the creator, don't follow the character sort of thing. So he was following specific artists. Well, I would say specific artists and writers. It was specific artists, and as things turned out, it was mostly Marvel. There's still he was a big Kirby guy, so I've got all like the the Fourth World DC Kirby stuff. Excuse me. And then just various stuff, Stranko, Shield stuff, Glacy, Master of Kung Fu stuff, Barry Windsor Smith, Conan stuff, just kind of all the artists that he really liked. He always followed them. Trimpy, Hulk, and that was all the stuff that I grew up on.
So when you were a kid and you're reading these books, and I'm sure you were fantasizing about your books that you wanted to tell, are you telling the stories now that you fantasized about as a kid? Were you thinking of Moon Knight tales then, or or is there still that Everest for you out there in the distance that, oh, I cannot wait till I get to write my ambush bug story? Or
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. I'm just counting down the minutes for that ambush bug series. No, not really. It's funny that when I was younger, I didn't really think about working with established IP like Marvel characters, DC characters. At the point where I decided that I wanted to make comic books myself, I was very much in the camp of wanting to do like my own creator-owned thing, like my own indie thing, because I think I would have been probably around 15, 16 or so, and I just really gotten into indie comics and both older black and white explosion stuff and then more current stuff you're seeing from Image and Dark Horse and what have you. So for the longest time, that was what I considered to be the thing that I wanted to do. I was going to write and I was going to draw my own kind of creator-owned stuff. It became rapidly apparent that I wasn't fast or good enough to draw my own comics. It would take about a year, and you get like one really shitty issue out of it. So that was not really going to be an option. And yeah, it wasn't until years later that it kind of rolled down that I ended up working in the shared universe, shared IP, superhero stuff. So there are, for instance, sort of superhero stories with existing characters that I've thought about in the past and kind of taken notes down and kind of plotted out as a mental exercise. But that was all stuff that was done like within my 20s, through my 30s, as opposed to my treasured idea for Alpha Flight from when I was 8 or something. As opposed to my treasured idea for Alpha Flight when I was 25, which still got the document, so we'll see.
Well, you hope that there's still both great stories, but you want to evolve in the time that you went from 8 to 25.
I mean, it's less than you'd think. It's quite disappointing.
Okay, that was going to be one of my questions later on, but I guess I'll drop it now. So, is the answer Alpha Flight? Because I was going to ask, is there a character or a team of characters that you've never written before that you would like to you would like the chance to write on a monthly basis?
Yeah, I mean, like I love an Alpha Flight book. I've made no secret of it. I'm Canadian. It's the only Canadian superhero team, and I love Alpha Flight. I think it's hilarious that Alpha Flight went like 155 issues or something, which by today's standards is completely insane for even a B-list character or a B-list team. Like you never get to see like an X-Force team go 155 issues, let alone a fucking Alpha Flight. But I'm well aware. Like I was lucky enough to work on Alpha Flight last time they brought it in for the that Alpha Flight anthology one shot that me and Zub and Ed Brisson wrote. And I mean, the long and short of it is the Alpha Flight just doesn't sell. Nobody buys Alpha Flight. It does okay in Canada, and it sells like dog shit in the US. So, kind of is what it is.
I love Alpha Flight. I can't.
Well, so do I.
I know.
Unfortunately, there's not 400,000 more of us.
They need to put an X. Put an X on it somewhere. It'll sell. Put an X on it.
I would have preferred an Alpha Flight movie before Eternals. For me, that made more sense, but that's just me.
I mean, I remember when they announced Guardians of the Galaxy. I was like, "Are you serious? Guardians of the Galaxy and not Alpha Flight? Like, come on!" This is like back year of our Lord 2013 or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I was seeing that. I'm like, I cannot believe this. Guardians of the Galaxy.
That means there's room, though. So fingers crossed. I mean,
Moon
Knight got a TV show after all, so anything's possible at that point.
I know. And, because Moon Knight got a TV show, I got a Moon Knight comic book. So it's really just kind of going back and forth. Swings and roundabouts.
Oh, was that the whole conversation? They're like, hey, we got a show coming up. We need you to create a Moon Knight comic.
Well, I mean, like the reason there was a new comic coming out is if you have a show coming out, you want to have a comic out. Like it just makes sense. Same reason I had a Taskmaster series, just because Taskmaster was in Black Widow. Was there any similarity between the movie and the book? No, because I didn't know what was in the movie, because why would they tell me? Similarly, people say, "Oh, like what's the inside scoop on Moon Knight, the TV show?" I'm like, I don't know. I'm just some idiot here in maritime Canada.
So you don't know if those are actually Von Doom cupcakes?
I have no idea about anything. I mean, all I know is like the Cape does this, and that's it. Like I'm good. I'm happy.
Yes.
I was going to ask you, were there any editorial mandates for your Moon Knight book? Because I see you've like kind of strayed away from the DID and everything. Was that your call, or was that like an editorial thing?
Yeah, like there were some editorial mandates in that they didn't have a like fully defined direction of where they wanted to go with the new Moon Knight series. Because when Moon Knight was being put together, I was not the only person who was pitching on it. I got an email from Tom Brevoort. He said, "We're looking to put together a Moon Knight series, but I don't really know what I want it to look like yet." So I've asked a few people what sort of ideas they have, and I was one of them. And saying, I've got a few things I wanted to put out there. Like we don't want to focus on his DID. We don't want to focus on Khonshu and the mysticism angle, because both of those things are kind of like enormous black holes that sort of just kind of like suck the plot right into them.
Yeah.
So it's not saying that these things no longer exist in Moon Knight's character or like in his sort of orbit, but for the first big arc where we're establishing the series, we want it not to be anchored on either of those two things, which is why you see Moon Knight as we have now, where it's about his struggles, certainly, but it's not about his struggles with DID. It's not about his struggles with Khonshu, or not directly.
I think
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, no, I think you've struck a good medium where it's like, some writers would just ignore stuff, but you're like, okay, no, Age of Khonshu, everything happens, but, we're going to kind of focus on something else for a while. And I love the vampire stuff. So did you do that intentionally? So we will get that Dracula scene eventually?
I mean, that Dracula scene will not happen. I've been very open about that. As I've got a lot of affection for Moon Knight Corps. They've been very kind to me. But at the same time, the moment you start pandering to people is the moment
you don't want to perpetuate that stereotype.
I mean, people are having a lot of fun. It's a great meme, but pandering is not going to do you any favors.
No.
So here's a question, and I do wonder. Uh, Now, obviously, in Reckoning War, they just blew up the moon,
Mm-hmm.
and that becomes a item for Moon Knight in the
Mm-hmm.
storyline. Um, do they tell you about that? And do you think, like, okay, how does that affect Moon Knight in the books I'm going to be writing, or is that a surprise to you?
I mean, I knew the moon was being blown up. I attend the Marvel, well, now virtual summits where everyone kind of gets together and says, here's what's happening in our books. Here's, where various characters are at. Here's what needs to be taken into account if you want to have this character in your book, etc. So I did know the moon was blowing up. I saw it in the, they sent out kind of like a agenda of events ahead of time to kind of get everybody up to speed before we started talking. So we didn't waste all of our time just info dumping it with exposition. So I did see that. And I just about shit. But ultimately, we talked about it, and I was like, oh, okay. So it's not really something I need to concern myself with in Moon Knight the book, because we don't have a Reckoning War tie-in, or we don't have a Reckoning War crossover plan for Moon Knight, because we just did Devil's Reign tie-in in the main series. We've got Devil's Reign Moon Knight next month. By next month, I mean like 2 weeks, a week and a half. So ultimately, it was just not something I wanted to address in the main book. So Dan had his scene with Moon Knight in was it Fantastic Four? It was in
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Four,
Fantastic Four. And that's fine. Like that's Moon Knight's deal, because like I said, we're still dealing with the Devil's Reign stuff, and ultimately Devil's Reign is just kind of like a more organic tie-in for the main series than something like Reckoning War is. Which, I mean, obviously I'm not trying to cast any aspersions or shade on Reckoning War, but it's just a much bigger story than we're telling in Moon Knight, which is a much more kind of spooky street level, as opposed to here's the greater cosmic universe and things are going buck wild.
When stuff like that happens, where like a Devil's Reign and a Reckoning War are going on at the same time, do you kind of get to pick which event you fit into better and maybe do a crossover with?
Not really. Basically, with Devil's Reign, I got an email from Tom who said, so Moon Knight's getting his ass whipped in Devil's Reign 1. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. It's like, so we're going to do a Devil's Reign one shot with Moon Knight where he's in prison. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Because it makes a lot of sense. Like, that's very much a Moon Knight story. And as we're going to see in like a week and a half, this is like some real Moon Knight stuff. We're talking about violence. We're talking about not mental health as we're speaking about as disorders, but mental health is in, if you're a person with a background of being a violent vigilante, putting you in prison is not the world's best thing for your mental health kind of situation. So, I mean, it's all really Moon Knight stuff, so it works great. And at the same time, I thought it presented a really interesting opportunity for Moon Knight number 8 to be an issue that is not about Moon Knight, where we had Hunter's Moon taking over the sort of role of the protector of his territory. And I thought it worked out really well. It was a lot of fun to kind of show people a different slant on things, to show people how a different, the other extant Fist of Khonshu we have in this series does things.
Yeah, I really like Hunter's Moon. I have to say that. I think as a character, he is just. It's such a great take on how any kind of cult of Khonshu might exist, and how I mean, not to get too weird here, but it kind of just reminds me of like Catholic versus Orthodox, popes and leaders in the church.
I mean, like you're not far off in that. I mean, Moon Knight is very much a schismatic priest of Khonshu, whereas Hunter's Moon represents a much more orthodox and like orthopraxic kind of way of representing Khonshu. I mean, again, the Fists of Khonshu are the priests of Khonshu. So yeah, like I have described Mark as a heretic. I've described him as schismatic because that's very much what we're looking at here. These divisions in faith and these splits in faith based on interpretations of orthodoxy or orthopraxy, such as the case may be.
Well, okay, so yeah, so you've written all these issues of Moon Knight already. What's your favorite aspect of the whole Moon Knight thing?
That's tough to say. I mean, I think the thing I like the most about Moon Knight is he's a character that you can write, and you don't have to justify why people are afraid of him. Because he, like, through this series, we see a guy who's trying to be better and who's trying to, make up for his past mistakes. But he's also someone who's not afraid to leverage his reputation in order to get things done. And I think that it's a lot of fun to work with, because like you can't do that with Spider-Man. Like, yeah, like Spider-Man has moments where he's like really intimidating. It like gets up in people's grills, but like people, heroes and villains are afraid of Moon Knight, and they have absolutely good reason to be, because Moon Knight has done some like horrible, heinous shit in the past.
You mean like cut a man's face off?
Cut a man's face off. He used to spend his nights carving moons into people's heads. Like he's got such a checkered past that bringing that up as an intimidation technique is it's a lot of fun, because there's not a lot of characters you do that with. Wolverine, who's basically Freddy Krueger, sure, you can do that with him. The Punisher, who is the world's most successful mass murderer, sure, you can do that with him. But like beyond those two, you're stretched a little thin on the ground. And then you got Moon Knight, who is a guy who runs around in a white outfit, relieving people of their facial features.
I love that. He wants them to see him coming.
Drop, Phil.
Oh yeah, don't worry. That.
Okay, so let's shift. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh,
I was going to say. What?
Oh, I was going to shift gears to Black Cat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. Let's shift the Black Cat,
because I do think that is kind of an interesting, I don't want to say diametrically opposed character, but is definitely
different.
A completely different vibe and a feel and
Sure.
and a being from Moon Knight.
Yeah, absolutely.
She has a crew. She has an incredible crew who is so loyal to her.
They put up with a lot.
And honestly, I was doing some research into like Black Cat, and like those guys are like from like her very earliest appearances.
Yep.
They
first appeared in the same issue as she did.
I know, and I love that
this is homework.
Yeah, that you brought them back, and there they are, and they're still like, yeah, we're a crew, and the crew is the crew, and I love that. It's, it's interesting because you can even look at it to bring it into the Disney universe. It's like that Mandalorian versus Jedi path. It's like, is it about the crew, or is it about that walking that path to enlightenment? And I love that, and I just love how much. Even though she is the Black Cat, there's so much life and joy in it. And, you really write the Black Cat in such a beautiful and exciting way that never feels pandering. And I mean,
she hasn't met Dracula yet, so.
Well, no. She could say, "Where's my money, Dracula?"
He was in the first issue.
You just steal from him. She could ask for it.
I mean, the Black Fox stole from him in Black Cat #1.
Yeah,
But
Dracula, I'm still not that impressed by Dracula. I'll be honest with
you. You're missing out. You're missing out.
Jed, that is when you became a household name around here. I just remember that Black Cat #1 that started it. That's like one of the few books that all three of us every week when we come to the table here, we're just like, "Did you read Black Cat?" "Oh yeah." We were all unanimously. We were just like, "Oh yeah, we read Black Cat." Yes, it was great.
So good news today then.
Wait, what happened? What happened today?
They announced a new mini, Iron Cat.
Oh, I saw the image, but I didn't. Yeah. Oh.
She
Nice.
got her
He's like,
armor
I'm not
back?
falling
What
for
is
that
going on
clickbait.
here? I didn't hear. This is news.
Yeah,
Breaking
well,
news.
Breaking
Well,
news.
basically, somebody's got the armor, and Felicia and Tony Stark have to figure out what's going on.
Oh,
Five issues starting in June.
awesome.
Perez
I think-
doing the art.
I think they're going to make a great team, honestly.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm looking, I've got the first issues in, the art's coming in. It's exciting because originally Iron Cat, well, what eventually became Iron Cat, the series, was going to be the next arc with Black Cat, but then it got canceled, so that had to go in the back pocket.
Ooh, tomato. We're very upset.
Yeah.
How is the book that keeps on getting canceled, but also always keeps on
Comes
continuing?
back. Well, like she's got 9 lives after all.
Exactly. It's one life after another.
Well, I know
Yeah.
we also
branding.
love the Mary
It's
Jane
branding.
Black Cat one shot, so we
Mm.
were wondering if that could be a somewhat permanent thing, or at least a mini series at some point also, because we love those two teamed up.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I was really pleased that we got CF back for the issue because, I mean, CF really made like such an imprint as like the Black Cat artist. You know, he's got such a good grasp on what's funny, but also what's, like real emotion and character acting, and then just action and like moving around. Like his figures just move like crazy. It's amazing. So yeah, it was great to team up with the CF on that again.
But yeah, that's the other thing I want to bring up with you. I'm glad that the Iron Cat thing's coming up because, just like her, her encounter, her getting one over on, I mean, Johnny Storm's one thing, but like Doctor Strange and like even getting over on Tony Stark. I mean, you never come out and say it, but I mean, is it in your mind? Is Felicia basically, I don't know how high of an IQ she has, but maybe a little smarter than the average person. So, and people just underestimate her because of the cat suit. I don't know.
I mean, the thing with Felicia is that, like, I don't know what she got in her SATs, but she's extremely specialized. Like, she's extremely good at what she does. And anything that's outside of what she doesn't really give a shit. So, like, she's not going to be doing complex algebra, but she can crack a lock, before you can sneeze. She's extremely good at stealing things and, cross the distance from point A to point B to where point B is the thing she has to steal. So she's someone who is very good at what she does and doesn't really care about anything else. Which, we see in her interpersonal relationships, and that she has sort of a disastrous love life for her entire character appearance, because the only thing she's good at is stealing things. And unfortunately, that doesn't tie into stealing hearts. Well, maybe it ties into stealing hearts, but it still doesn't tie into keeping.
Out of spite.
There you go.
I still say her and Batroc are the perfect couple, but that's just me.
No,
was,
Felicia and Flash forever. Get out, Charlie. Not on my watch.
He's a homebody.
Yes, we got a fan of the Zubas there. Oh no, wait, Eddie Brock had the Zubas. But,
No.
Yeah, I'm still thinking of that Felicia and Flash kind of workout outfit thing, and
Oh,
it was a real look.
that 90s fashion, yeah.
And we covered that.
I know. I mean, wasn't that the one loaf where Flash literally had a shirt with a arrow that was pointing straight down to his crotch?
That is the one, sir.
Yes.
But I mean, like, is that out of character for Flash?
Oh,
Especially at that point in
no,
time?
that's very on brand. No, especially 90s Flash. No. Yeah. But, and I just, again, you do your homework, and I never would have thought of it, but like, it's the perfect connection, her and the Black Fox. I'm like, who's done anything with the Black Fox in the last 20 years? But the connection makes complete sense.
That's actually one I can't take credit for. I had, when I was setting up my outlines for my first run, I talked about bringing in Felicia's mentor, who was just going to be a new character I made up. And Nick Spencer and Nick Lowe were talking about it. And they said, well, why don't you use the Black Fox? I was like, well, I don't know who that is, but sure. So I looked at the character. I'm like, no, actually, this is perfect. Like, this is completely ideal, because he's a character. He's what, 2 generations removed from modern relevant thievery, but he's also a character that no one's ever taken seriously. Like, the Black Fox has always been a joke. So bringing him in and proving that he is not a joke, I think is one of those things that, like, I love to take credit for things. that I think every comic writer does. And that's one I really wish I could take credit for because, I think I did a good job with putting the character in the series. But that original idea coming from Nick, Slow, and Spencer, it's the perfect idea. It was like the final puzzle piece that we needed to make that work.
Oh yeah, I mean, you actually made him a capable character because, like you said, before that, he would show up in a Spider-Man comic, try to steal something, and when Spider-Man goes to catch him, I'm old, don't punch me.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you wouldn't be a senior citizen. If you hit me, I'll die, and there'll be murder.
Well, that's most of Spider-Man.
But isn't that the perfect cover?
Well, not
I
actually.
mean, how often have we seen the female villain say, "You wouldn't hurt a lady, would you?"
Yes,
that's the entire reason they introduced Batgirl. It's like, I can hit a lady, and this is the idea.
It's also funnier to say, "If you hit me, I'll die," and it'll be murder. But I think that's from With Now and I, so I'm sort of cadging it. So,
but I mean, just again, that would be the Moon Knight, Black Cat. That would be enough to rest your laurels on. But it's like then you do Death of Doctor Strange, and I'm just like, oh,
still
I wasn't
waiting.
here for Death of Doctor Strange. I read it. I'm like, oh crap, Mackay got me again. I'm like, I'm not gonna read this thing.
Well, that was funny because I was writing when Black Hat came back. We did the King of Black tie-in. So
which
Felicia
I never
was
shut up about.
Oh,
nor should you.
Yeah.
So Felicia was, stealing Doctor Strange, and I was like, well, I really like Doctor Strange, and there's no Doctor Strange series right now, and they haven't announced a Doctor Strange series. So I emailed, Darren, the editor. I'm like, hey, can I write Doctor Strange? And he's like, yeah, sure. I'm like, oh, great. Here's my ideas. I sent them off to him. He's like, well, actually, we have a thing that we're gonna do. We've already got planned. I was like, oh yeah, what's that? He's like, we're gonna kill Doctor Strange, and you can write it. It's like, oh, okay, sure, yeah, okay. So they had a few things in place. We knew Doctor Strange was going to die, and we knew we were going to do the thing with the younger version of Strange who'd been kept in reserve. That was a Tom Brevoort idea he'd had kicking around for a while, and I thought it was really elegant. And then we just kind of took it from there, and we killed Doctor Strange.
And now we have Clea, the sorceress supreme, or is it sorcerer? I don't know. Is it
sorcerer?
a
It's
term
fine.
now?
It's 2022. We don't.
We've just settled on sorcerer. Just
it's like
sorcerer supreme. Okay, so that's do you want to stay current?
Because we're sorcerer supreme is something that is throughout the multiverse, and it seems weird to imply a human or even a carbon-based life form, gender binary. To the greater multiverse.
Fair enough.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. So we're just using sorcerer as a blanket gender neutral term.
Perfect. And now she's the sorcerer supreme of two universes.
Correct.
Which suggests she is actually now on a completely different level.
Well, I mean, no one's ever done that before. So we're going to see what that means and see what that looks like.
Sounds like a lot of work.
I mean, I don't think it's a spoiler to imply it's. I don't think it's a spoiler to imply that it's more of a pain in the ass than you might expect.
Yeah.
Magic in the Marvel universe, a pain in the ass, really?
I mean, it's usually just a pain in the ass for the writers, but now it's also a pain in the ass for the characters.
Is it? I mean, because that series is starting. What is it in March already?
Yeah, March 2nd. So 5 days.
Oh, nice.
Oh. Can I have to pick that up?
Strange number one, yeah. So is it just going to be her cleaning up? Like, oh, look at the mess Steven left behind.
Look at the mess everyone leaves.
Yeah. The last 2, 3 guys. Look what that mess they made.
I mean, she's like, I'm Sorcerer Supreme. I got to look after all these assholes. Like, Sorcerer Supreme in the Dark Dimension is so much easier. Like, it's just everyone's horrible, and it's a chaos dimension. You don't got to do anything. Whereas Earth, everyone's like, oh, come and save us. Shuma Gorath's attacking.
I mean, you're writing so many books now. I mean, we could just do our own Jed Mackay crossover, right? I mean, Moon Knight, Black Cat, Strange.
I've considered it.
It's probably just the hardest part's probably trying to
tell us who we have to threaten. We'll make it happen.
Exactly. I was gonna say the hardest part's probably just trying to figure out the scheduling, right? Like when the book is shipped, it's like, okay, I have to write this one first, this one second.
Yeah, I mean, the scheduling, it's kind of like an afterthought at this point, where I'm like, I just need to get my scripts in on time, so no one's waiting for me. and then eventually they will come out.
Like, it's not your department.
I mean, not really, and especially now with we have the printers are kind of jammed up with so many books going in, and then there's paper shortages. Actually, I don't think the paper shortages affect us that much. But anyways, there were a lot of delays going on through the fall and the winter. I think they're getting mostly sorted out now, but like even Devil's Reign Moon Knight got delayed by a week. So
yeah, I think the Spider-Man one did too. Yeah, I got a couple books this week. I think my guy said they're from like December, January. So yeah, they're I think they're all starting to flow through here now.
Yeah. So I think they're just kind of getting it sorted out because, I mean, surprisingly, COVID was kind of a motherfucker as from the comic book industry.
Oh yeah, I mean, I remember. Yeah, we didn't have a lot to read at that point at the beginning.
You're like, well, we're a back issue podcast now.
Yes.
Pretty much.
We were there. It was
so.
It was fun.
I mean, it was bad for the industry, but for you, did you kind of enjoy it just because you like I have more time? I have a little more time to write and stuff. Or
no, because if I'm not writing, I'm not getting paid.
Yeah, true. But I just mean, could you send in scripts and like they'll pay you for it, but it's not going to go out right away, or?
I mean, up to a certain point. Like they can only pay. I mean, it makes sense. They can only pay so far ahead.
Yeah. So
once I kind of hit that wall, there were a couple months where I just wasn't doing much work. So yeah, wasn't great, but I live in Canada, so I got served, so I could survive. I had savings and stuff like that. But I was very happy when we were getting back into production because otherwise, just kind of like wandering the streets. Painting tiny.
Where you live is a nice place to wander.
Well, thankfully, I was painting tiny plastic men, and it was getting to like some real, like real all work and no play makes a
you actually got around to painting your miniatures. That is the that's like, oh my goodness, there's no time left.
They're up there. You can't really see them, but yeah. Yeah, I was like, well, I finally have time to have a hobby, I guess.
That's why he writes 20 books a month now, kids. Never again.
Yeah, I just got the plastic piling up now. The paints are going dry. It's sad.
All right, so I know you have no inside info on the Moon Knight show, but what is like one aspect of Moon Knight that you're like, they better have that in the show? I really want that in the show.
I mean, I already told you I saw the cape go like that.
So. That's all you need.
Good. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, the suit looks fun. I think they've got a lot of exciting stuff going on. Oscar Isaac is, a great actor, so that's sorted. So, I mean, with these TV shows and these movies and stuff, I basically have zero expectations because it's just, it kind of is what it is. It's a thing that's going to exist, whether or not it is what I expect it to be. So I just kind of take it as it comes.
And your name better be in the credits.
I would be surprised. People are always like, so are they going to take things from your comics and put them in the TV show? I'm like, the TV show wrapped before I started writing. Like, unless they have a time machine, I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, it is Disney. To be fair.
I mean, if anybody would have a time machine, I guess.
So here's a crazy thought. And you can say, I refuse to answer this on the grounds that it may cause me lots of problems. But
that's not a great way to start a question, but okay.
No, I know, but you know what? The doors are open. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask it. Mm-hmm. You said to them, hey, I want to write Doctor Strange. They said to you, yeah, hey, we're going to kill Doctor Strange. So cool, I'm going to write this. And there's a Doctor Strange movie coming out. Mm-hmm. Do you think any of these facts are related?
Oh, yeah, I have no idea.
There we go. Perfect answer.
I mean, you'd have to look at old Benedict Cumberbatch's contract, I would guess. See how many movies he's got left on it.
Again, it could swing. It could swing either way. They could get rid of doctors. they could get rid of Doctor Strange at the end, or they could be like, "Oh, hey, Jed, bring Stephen Strange back." Now by the time this movie comes out,
Well,
I
they
mean,
haven't even
if they
introduced Clea yet, so.
if they killed Doctor Strange in the movies at the end of like actual Doctor Strange movie, I would be. I mean, I'd be impressed. That'd be a hell of a swing. A hell of a swing.
But
That's
it's
what
a
I thought.
good thing he had that copy of himself from that point in time that he separated out when he was playing with the Eye of Agamotto.
But who's going to play the young Benedict Cumberbatch?
Well,
Just use that CGI thing. They could de-age him.
He doesn't actually have the gray streaks in his hair, I don't think. Or if he does, they just put in the just for men, It's just for sorcerers.
They can use that Sherlock footage. It'll be fine.
Yeah, there you go.
He's just dying to use that de-aging technology. It's like soon we will not need the actors at all.
Yeah, a floppy-haired 2010 Benedict Cumberbatch comes strolling out of a portal.
Hey, man, I've heard crazier rumors about that movie.
You know what? Yeah, fair enough.
Justice for mutants is all that I will say, and keep it moving.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I mean, they're screaming about Illuminati, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be a Jed Mackay Illuminati book coming there around the corner here soon.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but
would you want to write an Illuminati book, Jed?
I mean, it's not something I've ever thought about, to be quite honest. Even though I've got Doctor Strange now, and then of course Moon Knight, who should have been on the Illuminati. Would have been a shockingly bad choice. Yeah, I mean, I would have to think about it. It would be certainly difficult, given that you're working with a lot of kind of a greater scope than I tend to be used to in comic books. But I'd certainly give it a shot for sure.
That's all right. He gave me one page of Ben Reilly meeting Moon Knight in that Death of Doctor Strange tie-in. I'm good for this year.
Meeting Ben Reilly again.
Old man Ray.
Yes,
like a dream come
Ben
true.
Reilly again. Yeah.
You made that nerd's dream come true. We appreciate it.
But I mean, isn't that what the business is?
Oh yeah,
It truly is.
I mean, you rate a good Spider-Man.
Nostalgia.
You rate a good Spider-Man. Would you be interested in like a monthly Spider-Man or a mini-series or anything?
Yeah, I think Spider-Man is a lot of fun, and I think Spider-Man is probably one of the biggest books Marvel has. It's just they put out so many issues.
Oh yeah,
that's a lot of work, and also I don't know, the Spider-Man fan base is probably second to the X-Men fan base for sort of the venom they bring to the world. So yeah, I don't know.
Fair enough.
I'm quite happy to work with characters who have like a relatively smaller fan base that don't get up in your grill about stuff all the time. People are like, "Oh, would you like to write an X book?" I'm like, "Yeah, but that'll be the day I quit Twitter for sure."
I mean, it's probably more fun, writing characters where the expectations are a little lower. Like you said, Spider-Man, X-Men, everyone and their grandma has an opinion on Spider-Man.
Yeah, and it's always fucking bonkers.
I know.
I gotta say, whenever whenever a character that is mostly known from their Marvel handbook reference gets name checked, those fans are always very appreciative. So you put in anybody that you mostly know from the handbook rather than the actual comics, and people are like, yes.
Yeah,
so glad they are back.
Those are fun characters to dig up. I really enjoyed bringing Tigra back, for instance, in Moon Knight, because I've always thought Tigra was a really interesting character, because there's a period of time where she was in the Avengers, she was all over the place, but for however many years, she's just hasn't had a place. Like no one could figure out where to put her, and it's just
the original cat before Patsy Hellcat.
There you go. I mean, I've got that issue.
Yes.
The one where she fights the man bull. It wasn't ox. Was it the bull? Anyways, it was a guy. He had bull horns. It was a whole thing.
Yeah, there's a couple of guys like that, but yeah, it's
But
it's a
yeah,
go-to.
and I think she's like a really great character, and having her in Moon Knight is a lot of fun because, you know, she's a daytime creature. She's brightly colored. She's got a lot of energy. She's exciting. And then Moon Knight is, a grim avenger of the nighttime streets. And it's a lot of fun to play these characters off each other. So I'm always kind of looking for characters we can bring back from, obscurity or relative obscurity, and, brush them off, put a new coat of paint on them, and see what people think.
I mean,
here's a real deep question. You may not have considered it yet, although I know you've mentioned it in the books. Is her kid gonna come for a visit?
Oh yeah, he'll be around at some point.
Okay, so we're gonna get Moon Knight in the park, and they're all going to have a nice family day in Central Park.
So it's coming. Okay.
I mean, I'm not gonna say Moon Knight's gonna be his dad.
Okay,
but,
well, no, I mean that's my own stupid idea. I don't write comic books for a living. You have to give me some slack.
Like, the kid has been written out of existence, but yeah, they still exist, and there is still
the old Normie Osborn treatment.
There's still potential that they will appear and interact with their weird uncle.
That would be lovely.
And are we going to get we see why Tiger is there. So are we going to get a confrontation with Black Panther at some point?
I mean, you'll have to continue to buy the comic book.
Oh, I was going to either way.
We're already going to do that.
Yeah. You're a good writer. We're going to keep on buying, so don't worry.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens on down the line. I can't spell everything out, unfortunately.
No, I know. Okay, but yeah, we talked about Moon Knight, Black Cat. We talked about the Doctor Strange stuff. Is there one genre you like rating more than the others? Like, is the street level stuff your favorite? Is the mystical stuff, or are you just like, I love it all?
I mean, honestly, I think the street level stuff is kind of my favorite. It's largely where I've worked up till now in Marvel, and even with Strange. Strange is not a street level book, but it has street level elements. Because a lot of it draws upon my earliest pitch for Doctor Strange prior to the death of Doctor Strange, where I was looking at bringing in more street level elements to Doctor Strange. So, yeah, generally the street levels where I'm most comfortable. The higher the power levels get, the more, I wouldn't say uncomfortable, but the more unfamiliar I am with the territory, just because I spent less time with it. I wrote Avengers Mech Strike a little while back. And having the entire Avengers around was kind of a big deal, and something I wasn't used to dealing with. Where normally, the kind of threats you have in a Black Cat book or a Moon Knight book are like a guy with a gun or like a guy with a sword. Whereas that doesn't really mean much to the Avengers. They'll have the Hulk eat him, or like Thor will just sneeze and that person will die. So, for instance, writing Avengers Mech Strike, I had to come up with, a whole new tier of threats to make it credible that not only would the Avengers be occupied, but would also be challenged. So, the further we get from the street, the kind of more unfamiliar territory I'm in. But I am always interested in rising to the occasion or rising to the challenge.
I mean, I think you're getting more comfortable with it. 'Cause, I mean, that last issue of Moon Knight, the whole stained glass scarlet thing, I was like, oh, what the hell is this? I'm like, this is like a horror movie. Beautiful. I love it.
I have to say, that was just beautiful.
It's funny because that issue came out in February, but like it's a Halloween story. I wrote it in October.
I thought it was a St. Valentine's Day story.
Yeah, shit, that's how I should have told people now. But kind of is.
That out, it'll be okay.
It works. It works either way. It's beautiful.
It's any time of year.
Valentine, yes.
But yeah, like that was our spooky Halloween story with stained glass scarlet as the scary story that kills. Because people Moon Knight doesn't have the kind of rogues gallery you get from someone like Spider-Man, because Moon Knight kills a lot of the people he meets. So that kind of leaves his enemies thin on the ground. But Stained Glass Scarlet is a character that people really like. You know, Moon Knight fans were always championing the bits, saying we're Stained Glass Scarlet. And obviously, we had to put Stained Glass Scarlet in there because A, she's a very popular Moon Knight villain, and B, at the time of writing, she was alive. So that makes her quite special right there. But I couldn't really figure out what I wanted to do with Scarlet because, you know, after Scarlet Redemption, that like 5-part story, Moon Knight story that Jan DeMatteis wrote, it kind of put her in a weird place. Also, she may have been dead. I wasn't quite sure. So I wanted to find a different angle for Scarlet, and then that sort of, you know, Bloody Mary, Candyman kind of thing, just really, just kind of like, you know, slotted in. It worked, and so that's what we ran with.
Oh yeah, I mean, I thought you executed it perfectly. I was like, oh, you know, nice power upgrade, and like I said, very horror-esque vibes. Which, again, I mean, more, you know, you call Moon Knight a street level thing, but I mean, it's very, your run's been very super, you know, vampires, very supernatural from day one. So
yeah, but I mean, I also think supernatural and street level go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, most urban fantasy kind of tropey things.
Yeah, and like
Well,
I think that's
and-
one of the arenas where supernatural works the best in your kind of street level stuff, because like the higher the kind of power level, if you have the Avengers fighting, you know, Shuma Gorath or something, it's less of a supernatural story and more just a cosmic story. Whereas I think the supernatural elements and the horror elements work best with characters who have less power to deal with it. And, you know, the same way with any horror movie where you see the protagonist as someone who's always on the back foot and someone who's not prepared for the situation they find themselves in.
So you'd rather do like a Stained Glass Scarlet or even Zodiac or any of them over like a Doctor Doom or something?
I mean, what's Doctor Doom going to do with Moon Knight, you know?
They did it in the 90s. That's why they did it in the 90s.
Yeah. One thing I will say, one thing I do want to say here is just, and this is what I thought was beautiful about the Stained Glass Scarlet story is you make this point of, you know, the gods are just stories and there are older stories and you're a new story.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, yeah, Khonshu isn't at his full power, but neither are you. You're still a new story.
Yeah.
But you're not going to die here either.
Yeah.
It's like this is just one more myth to be told on that street level. And it is just beautiful the way you build that cosmology into it. In a world with real gods, this idea that, yes, you can just speak, that humans just speak these deities into existence is really a fascinating idea. And it's something that is, you know, as a real deep cosmology nerd of Marvel Comics, the fact that I see it weaving through a lot of stories, it makes me feel so happy.
No, I'm glad you liked it.
So I really love what you did there. I really love the way that you handled these beings that, even if they are street level, are still street level, that the street level is still part of the cosmos.
Yeah.
So every story is a cosmic story because it happens in the cosmos.
Sure, but I mean, we're also talking about belief, and you know, where
Exactly.
do you see belief in a more defined form or more refined form than on the streets?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's the thing, and it really spoke to me as a fan of that. So I'm sorry, I just wanted to say that.
No, that's. But I mean, again, I think those things are, you know, go hand in hand. As when we talk about belief, when we talk about stories, you know, these are the stories that are told from person to person. And, you know, when we're talking about street level stuff, it's very, very much about person to person communication, person to person interaction. You know,
exactly.
The words the prophets are written on subway walls and tenement halls, right? Mm-hmm. So.
All right. Any other questions for this man, or should we let him get back to painting his miniatures? All
I mean, I
right.
could talk to him all night, but
Oh, I know.
I'm sure he doesn't want to talk to me all night. So I will be the better person and say,
don't sell yourself short. You're a catch.
by your
Oh!
leave, sir. Oh, thank
He's
you.
gonna want that as a drop, Phil.
Oh, I'm getting all the drops.
Oh yes, please.
Oh yes.
Considering what the last guy said about me, that's a good one.
Oh, come on! It's a badge of honor. Peter David called you a dumbass. Come on.
Wow, Peter David out here throwing hands. Damn.
All right, Jed. Before we do your plugs and we let you go, can you give us a quick drop of hi? This is Jed Mackay, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Sure. Hi, this is Jed Mackay, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
There, happy little.
Thank you. I didn't even have to nudge you or anything.
I know. I remember it. All right. So yeah, we'll take the next 20 minutes. Mr. Jed Mackay, what comics do you want people to go out and buy? Where can they find you? Social media? Plug whatever you like.
So yeah, I can be found at twitter.com, Jed Mackay. That's JedMackay. I've got several books coming out now. We have Moon Knight currently ongoing. Issue number 9 comes out on March 2nd. As well as Strange number 1, the first of a ongoing new series featuring Clea Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme of Earth, as well as the Dark Dimension. Similarly, we have Magic the Gathering number 13. No, number 14. No, wait, hang on. Sorry, number 12. Number 12. I'm losing track of all the numbers of the books that I write because there's a lot of them and I've never been good with numbers. Yes, Magic the Gathering number 12 is coming out as well. It's the second issue in a whole brand new season that setting up a whole new status quo. It's very exciting. As well, we've got Devil's Reign Moon Knight number 1 coming out the week after. And then some Spider-Man stuff coming out. Amazing Spider-Man 92, I believe, as well as Amazing Spider-Man 92.bay or BEY. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on, but I hope people will check out Strange number 1. I think it's going to be a fun new series, and I hope people are excited for it. And that's it.
So you're writing 92 Amazing Spider-Man 92 and 92. I say Bay too. 92 point Bay.
Yeah, that's kind of how it shook out.
Penultimate stuff.
Yeah, Niccolo, he just kind of gets at me whenever he needs someone to fill in for something. Because I am relatively fast. So he's like, hey, can you give me like 15 pages with Monica Rambeau in a Spider-Man story by Friday? I'm like, sure. Yeah, I can do that.
Oh, I know. Towards the beginning of that, we talked to Kelly Thompson, and she was like, yeah, they, that whole Beyond board, they kind of parcel out, who's going to do which issue, and we're like, oh, we're going to do this one. And she's like, oh no, Jed Mackay gobbled up everything else that the rest of us didn't.
I mean, I'm just here getting emails. But yeah.
Hey, everyone must love it. Hey, everyone loves your work. I mean, they keep coming back to you for all this stuff.
But yeah, it's I mean, I've been lucky. Like I said, I'm gonna make hay while the sun shines.
All right, but yes, thank you so much. Like I said, you've been on our bucket list for the longest time. Thank you for.
Well, happy to be here, and thanks for bringing it on for such a landmark episode.
Thank you, and in advance, thank you for the Moon Knight Alpha Flight crossover. I know is coming soon.
You know what? Both of those being such 80s characters, I guarantee you they've crossed over at some point.
There's a moon in Canada. I'm just saying.
Actually, we have 2 of them here. It's very special.
Yes, one's French and one's English.
Exactly.
Unless you're on the West Coast, then it's in Chinese.
Well, there you go. Yes, but yeah, every time I'm doing Moon Knight, I have to look to try to figure out when he's crossed over with other characters, and he's met like friggin' everybody. Because the 80s, so they're just like, we'll just throw all these characters and see if we can sell some comic books. It's wild.
That reminds us of that crossover we did with Old Man Ray and.
Oh yes, yes. We were friends with Ray and everyone over at Into the Night. So
yeah, and of course, Tomes of Evil.
Yes, Tomes of Evil, also our friends. Yes.
Yeah, the number one fans of Man Mountain Marco.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
Well,
sure.
Charlie
fine.
also. Charlie over there also.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
You're gonna have to
Mutual
wrestle in Jello for the title. It'll be on our
mutual
Patreon,
fans of
Charlie
Man
over
Yeah,
Mountain Marco.
I won't say I'm the number one fan of Man Mountain Marco. I'm just saying I'm always there when he shows up.
You're the number one fan of Otto Octavius, Charlie. Come on.
You'll want to
Fair
be there
enough.
for Devil's Reign Moon Knight #1 because you're gonna see old Triple M there.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I heard you on Into the Night.
Just
You said,
please tell me you were gentle with him. It's
Now when
He has
people
a
meet
hard
Moon
time.
Knight, when people meet Moon Knight, is he generally gentle with them?
No, I understand that. Look, all I'm saying, don't make him a jerk. Just make him a big idiot. That's all I want from my poor Man Mountain Marco. Okay, well,
I heard there's some kind of mystery about who his cellmate is. So
There is speculation.
well, we're gonna see it. I will tell you this. Hey, if Man Mountain Marco if he's got lore, I'm there for it. I love it. He got eaten by a dragon once, and he still came back. So that's why Man Mountain Marco, me, is the last surviving existing being in the Marvel universe.
I mean, like with a name like that, you can't get rid of him permanently.
Yeah.
It's like it's like Manslaughter Marsdale, who I think very much is the kind of counterpart to Man Mountain Marco, as far as just these very evocative, very like 1965 names.
Yes.
Swagger. All right.
Oh.
What?
I'm sorry. I was a huge fan of the Zodiac story when it first came out in Dark Reign, so it's
yes. Oh, Dark Reign
there's
Zodiac.
just so much with what you're doing right now that I'm like, I didn't even realize that. Oh my gosh, that's the same Zodiac.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess I wasn't surprised. I was quite pleased. Excuse me. No one guessed that it was Zodiac as the mysterious antagonist.
Yeah.
But I mean, granted, that would be a hell of a guess. The guy has appeared. That's the guy that's appeared for 5 issues over the entire span of his life.
But he is, again, it's just a great character as he plays out, because he is just, oh yeah.
I mean, he's just a real piece of shit. Like,
yeah.
he has.
Well,
Like,
you know what? At least
he's
he recognizes that the universe is awful.
Yeah, he's completely irredeemable. He has no like redeeming virtues whatsoever.
Wait, that's the best guy. No one's going to care if Moon Knight cuts his face off.
I mean, I guess we'll see what happens.
He wears a bag over his head anyway, so
Oh, we're gonna
we've got 3 people in the series that wear bags over their heads now, so.
I just need Zemo in here.
I mean, hopefully you don't like Zemo, because if you introduce Moon Knight to an actual honest-to-God Nazi, then that's going to be a real difficult situation for.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We're all excited about the issue.
Look at him teasing all this stuff. All right, Mr. Jed Mackay, thank you. You've been a delight.
Well, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you for having me on.
I mean, maybe we'll have to do this again in a future point. Hey, maybe that Iron Cat, because like I said, we are all big Black Cat fans here.
Yeah, well, hit me up. I'm always down to chat.
All right, so you said,
and tell your friends we don't bite.
I mean, we're on StreamYard. That would be extraordinarily difficult.
You'd be surprised.
All right. All right. Thank you, sir. Hopefully, he didn't scare you too bad.
No, I'll live. Like I said, I was on Tomes of Evil.
Oh,
I'll get him an I Survived Tomes of Evil t-shirt for sure.
Oh, that's a drop, Lilith. I survived Tomes of Evil. All right. Thank you, sir.
Have a great one.
I'm just waiting until you guys finish recording.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I was just saying. I was gonna say, do you want to sit through our drops? I don't care.
All right. Well, never mind. I'll split.
Right.
Yeah, I was being polite. All right, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, sir.
Take care.
As great as I thought it would be.
OCD.
I hope we didn't keep him too long. Now I always worry. We go too long.
No, that was perfect because he said, can we keep it to like an hour? So that was about
Right on the nose,
that was perfect.
Not
Pretty much
59 minutes, so.
Do your drops, Phil.
Andy took shots at Tomes of Evil. That could not have gone any better.
I love it when a plan comes together.
I know. All right, kids. So yes, send us your thoughts. How much did you love the Jed Mackay interview? Or hey, if you're another creator and you want to join us, like next week we got another interview. Clay McLeod Chapman will be back to talk.
He's back, boys.
Villains for Devil's Reign, Villains for Hire, number 2. So yeah, see, we got this is the place to be, creators. So email us, capesandlunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can follow Capes and Lunatics on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Find links to all the various social medias for the many, many shows we do. Find the link to the YouTube channel. Again, that Annie Chang interview is burning up our YouTube channel. So please subscribe and check out all the interviews and all the other episodes we do.
Some subscribers.
What? Oh, look at him, Lilith. Look at him pulling a Lilith Hellfire. But yes, most importantly, if you can, subscribe to the Patreon, get exclusives like early access to creator interviews, Mr. DG Chichester every month. A new episode. A new Chichester Chats is about to go up.
I got the good mic out for you guys.
And, of course, superhero movie brackets. We're going to find the worst superhero movie of all time.
How drunk will Lilith be for this latest matchup? Subscribe and find out.
That's
Is
like
it a
how
box
much
of wine or a barrel of whiskey?
That's like how much snow are we going to get in the winter? 1 inch, 3 inch? I don't know.
To be fair,
Charlie, hoist it up. All right, and of course,
here we are. Would you like to own a delightful Capes and Lunatic mug or T-shirt or other branded product?
Phone cases. So yes, kids.
And just so you know, people, this is metal on the inside.
That's right.
No, so I know a lot of you look at this. Oh, that's one of those plastic mugs.
Listen,
that like it cracks 3 days in. No, this is metal all the way through. And yeah. Honestly, like Phil does not sell. This is the thing. He does not sell what the product is. This is a metal mug, sheathed in plastic with our delightful logo on the outside. Let your friends know where to listen to their informative genre fiction works here at the Capes and Lunatics Network. As you drink your still hot coffee or still cold vodka out of your mug at work.
But yes, and if you're inquiring, where could I get such wonderful products? Well, you can find everything we just mentioned at Linktree, linktr.ee/Capes and Lunatics. And yes, Lilith, by the finger, not that finger, Lilith Hellfire is giving. Yes, it'll be in the show notes on the YouTube, the podcast, all of it, every show notes. Wherever you're listening to this, just look down. Hail. Lilith Hellfire. Lilith Hellfire, where can people talk to you about cutting men's faces off?
Allegedly, parody and satire. If you nerds want to hang out with me on the interwebs and help me make Dracula give me my money, you can find me on Twitter at Lilith Hellfire, on Instagram at Lilith Hellfire69, and of course on TikTok, making all the comments. Your post could be next at Lilith Hellfire69. Oh, you don't want to know the things I've done.
Charlie Hesser.
Well, if you'd like to write to me in that old-fashioned email way, there were mothers and fathers once did, do so at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. And follow me on the Twitters. I live tweet things when I feel like it. There's shows, Naomi at 9 on Tuesdays, and Legends of Tomorrow on Wednesdays at 8, which are very good shows. Finding the energy. At Charlie Esser, that's CharlieSSER. Look for the 2 E's in the middle. For what?
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Maz.
Hey,
thank you, Mr.
At 250 episodes, we're uncancelable. Just saying.
I'm uncancelable! We're uncancelable. All right, kids. Is he still there? But yes, thank you, Mr. Jed Mackay, and everyone, all you kids, come back next week for Clayton Todd Chapman and Devil's Reign, Villains for Hire #2. All right, for another week, we have been your Capes.
Ampersand.
Lunatics! It wasn't me this week. I'm happy.
I hit the wrong button. One second.
I don't care. He was here for Jed
Hey-o.
Mackay. That was fine. Hey-o. He was here for the Jed Mackay. That's fine. All right. All right, kids. Remember, tell them you heard it here first. Alpha Flight Ascending is coming soon. Good night.